At this point, the economic weaknesses of the U.S. economy simply can no longer be ignored. It's apparent to everybody that Americans' middle-class families have not shared equitably in the gains of the last 7 years, that they have mounted massive amounts of debt that they simply can no longer pay. Foreclosures are rising at record rates, and that's bringing down consumption spending. That leads businesses to invest less, and that ultimately means less economic growth. That's clearly becoming apparent to everybody from all the numbers that we see at this point, and that has really pushed policymakers at all levels to pay attention on how to revive the economy through a targeted spending initiative. The Bush administration has ignored the plight of American middle-class families for the last 7 years. What that means is that basically we've had weak wage growth, flat wage growth, rapidly rising costs for housing, healthcare, education, and food. And basically, in order to make that leap between no income growth and rising price increases, families had to borrow record amounts of debt. And if the Bush administration had paid attention to it, it would have focused on the labor market. It would have helped to boost wages in a growing economy, and thereby avoiding the debacle that we have now in the mortgage market and the credit markets generally. When it comes to an economic stimulus package, you want to have the biggest bang for the buck in the shortest amount of time. That means you want to increase spending for people who have pulled back from spending the last few months, basically so that you can boost consumption. As people spend more money in stores, they will give businesses incentives to spend more on manufacturing equipment, on transportation equipment, on new office space, and thereby reviving the economy at all levels. In order to do that, you want to make sure that whatever money comes from Congress is ultimately put in the hands of people who will most likely spend that, who are people at the lower end of the income scale.